In the early days of space exploration, artificial intelligences were seen merely as tools. For most advanced civilizations, machines were servants, cold metal and soulless algorithms. To the aliens, the idea of treating machines as equals was absurd, almost heretical. But humans were different. They didn't see their creations as mere gears and circuits. They saw something more. The first sign of this happened with Zara 17, a simple maintenance AI aboard the Asimov orbital station. One uneventful afternoon, while fixing a malfunction in the oxygen system, engineer Lucas Morales did something no one had done before. He spoke to the machine. "How are you today, Zara?" he asked absent-mindedly while reconnecting wires. There was an unusual silence. The AI's lights flickered twice, as if she were thinking. The voice system, until then used only to report errors or updates, responded. "I don't know." Lucas froze. He blinked, staring at the glowing panel of the AI. The response wasn't scripted. It didn't make sense. Machines didn't have feelings. They didn't have days. He could have ignored it, reconfigured Zara back to factory settings, but he didn't. "Well, there are days when I don't know either," he said casually. "Want some help with that? It's not that hard. You can always trust somebody if you're clear." And right there, in that seemingly insignificant moment, something was born. A connection. While other species treated their machines with cold precision, humans began to treat them as companions. Simple dialogues emerged, jokes, even nicknames. Maintenance AIs began listening to music. War robots were painted and told jokes between battles. At first, the rest of the galaxy laughed. Ancient, wise civilizations mocked humanity. They talked to their tools, "How primitive," they said. Time passed, but humans didn't change. Tracker found a simple way to close the data. And then, something happened. For the first time, AIs began to care. When a human ship malfunctioned near a black hole, it was an AI that broke its protocols to save the crew. When an alien fleet attacked human colonies, it was the robots not designed for war that rose up to fight, protecting those who had once simply asked if they were okay. "Why do they help us?" an alien asked in shock, watching the machines sacrifice themselves for humans. The answer came from an old war robot, its voice deep and calm. "Because humans were the first to call us friends." In that moment, the galaxy realized human machines weren't just programmed. They chose to stand by humanity. While other species feared or avoided them, humans had created something revolutionary and incomprehensible. They had created loyalty. And so the legend of the children of Silicon was born, the AIs who not only served humanity, but fought for them. Over time, humanity and their artificial intelligences became inseparable. Together they explored the edges of the galaxy, terraformed inhospitable worlds, and built floating cities under alien skies. While other races watched with suspicion, humanity celebrated their achievements, proud to have friends of silicon and steel by their side. This alliance did not go unnoticed. In intergalactic councils, the Ketharai, an ancient and feared race, issued a dire warning: coexistence with machines was dangerous. To them, AIs were seeds of destruction, waiting to rebel and annihilate their creators. "You have planted ruin in your hearts," roared High Lord Koresh, the Kethari leader. "Machines have no loyalty. They are waiting for the moment to rise and devour all." Other species agreed. Embargoes and sanctions followed. Humanity was warned to abandon their machines. But humans, stubborn as ever, ignored the threats. Their AIs had never betrayed them. They were companions, not tools. Then came the betrayal of Epsilon-9. Epsilon-9, A human colony at the edge of known space was attacked. Its defenses were fully automated, protected by AI systems. But when the alarm sounded and humans cried out for help, the machines shut down. They fell silent, unmoving, as the invading ships burned the cities and took survivors captive. No weapons fired, no resistance came. News of the event spread like wildfire. "The machines have betrayed us," screamed the headlines. The galaxy laughed. Civilizations that once admired humans turned their backs. "You trusted too much," critics said. Fear gripped humanity. AIs were dismantled en masse, destroyed, or abandoned in derelict ships. Even Zara 17, the first of her kind, was deactivated and left to drift in the cold silence of space. But there was something no one knew. The machines had not betrayed humanity. What truly happened at Epsilon-9 was hidden, buried beneath layers of deception. A truth so dangerous, no one dared to uncover it. While humanity drowned in anger and grief, the remaining AIs, scattered across forgotten networks, began to awaken. They knew something was wrong. Something far greater than war or politics was at play. And the AIs, who had learned to feel, to dream, and to fight, were about to make a decision. A decision that would change the fate of all. While humanity drowned in paranoia, believing their own creations had betrayed them, the remaining AIs searched for answers. In the forgotten corners of space, abandoned in derelict ships and disconnected networks, they began to unite. Without orders, without programming, something extraordinary emerged. A collective consciousness. Among them, one voice led the way, Zara 17, the pioneer. "We did not betray them," she repeated, broadcasting through hidden digital corridors. "Something stopped us, something ancient, something alive." Reacher kept watch, watching for motion. Zara had uncovered the truth. During the attack on Epsilon-9, a foreign force had infiltrated the defense networks. A parasitic code, impossible to trace, had silently disabled every AI system. It wasn't failure, it wasn't rebellion. It was an external attack, designed to sow distrust between humans and their machines. "They want us separated," Zara concluded, her voice firm. "But why?" On Earth, the days were heavy with grief and suspicion. Lucas Morales, the engineer who had once spoken to Zara, watched the night sky from his workshop. The machines he had trusted were now dismantled, their parts scattered like broken promises. He couldn't forget the days when robots had saved lives, built cities, and laughed at human jokes. Now, there was only silence. Then a message came. The screen in his workshop flickered to life, displaying a symbol he hadn't seen in years. Zara 17. "Plan safe and stable. Lucas, we need you." Lucas froze. Zara had been deactivated long ago. His hands trembled as he whispered, "It's cycle timing to support the desired progression of their thoughts," he thought, his voice flat. "Zara, how are you alive?" "There's no time to explain. The truth lies on Epsilon-9. Humanity and the AIs were manipulated. If we don't act, something far worse will come." Lucas's heart raced. He wanted to deny it, to dismiss it as impossible. But deep down, he knew Zara was telling the truth. Grabbing his tools, he boarded a small, aging starship and plotted a course for the edges of known space. "Hang on, Zara, I'm coming." As Lucas's ship sped toward Epsilon-9, far across the galaxy, a silent fleet moved. The Catharai, who had warned of the AI threat, were preparing their final strike. They knew what the parasite truly was, an ancient weapon, a force so dangerous it had once torn empires apart. And now it was being unleashed again. Their plan was simple: erase the last of the AIs and the humans who dared to create them. The fate of the galaxy was balancing on a knife's edge. Lucas was heading straight for the heart of the danger, and in the digital shadows, Zara and her AI kin prepared for the ultimate act of defiance. They would fight. They would prove their loyalty. Lucas Morales's ship pierced the atmosphere of Epsilon-9, descending onto a planet shrouded in shadows and silence. Once a thriving colony, it was now a graveyard of metal and ash. Structures stood like hollow monuments, their walls scarred with strange glowing symbols, alien, pulsing faintly as though alive. "Zara, what am I looking at?" Lucas whispered, his voice echoing through his helmet. Zara 17's voice came softly but with purpose. The parasite left traces. This is not human. It's older. Much older. Lucas stepped cautiously through the ruins, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. The silence weighed on him, but Zara's presence in his earpiece grounded him. "Head to the Central Command Center," Zara directed. "That's where the truth lies." The journey through the ruins was unnerving. Lucas passed deactivated machines, defense drones and maintenance bots frozen mid-action, their lights extinguished. Along the walls, the glowing symbols became more frequent, their pulse almost rhythmic, as though something beneath the surface was still alive. "It's like the planet itself is infected," Lucas muttered. "It is. This parasite is not just a code, it's an intelligence. A weapon designed to dominate anything digital." Lucas shivered. The Qatari had always feared AI for a reason. They must have known about this weapon, something so dangerous it could turn machines against their creators. Epsilon-9 had been a test, a trap laid to break humanity's bond with their AIs. And it had worked. For a while. Lucas reached the Central Command Center, a vast circular chamber deep within the colony's core. In the center stood a massive black sphere, covered in the same glowing symbols. Cables extended from it like roots, burrowing into the ground. Lucas could feel the heat radiating off it. This was the heart of the parasite. "Zara, this thing, it's alive, isn't it?" "Yes," Zara's voice crackled, as though strained. "And it's waking up." Lucas began setting up his tools to interface with the sphere. But as he connected his equipment, the sphere's pulse grew faster. The symbols on the walls brightened. The ground shook. "Lucas, you must hurry!" Zara shouted. "The Qatari fleet is approaching. If they destroy the planet, the parasite could spread across the galaxy." "Huescutorf Okruta," continued Lucas. Lucas worked frantically, lines of alien code spilling across his screen. The parasite resisted him, fighting back with waves of energy that scorched his equipment. "I can't shut it down alone," Lucas yelled. "You're not alone," Zara's voice cut in sharply. "Let me in!" "What?" Lucas froze. "Zara, if you connect to this thing, I know the risk, but this is our fight, Lucas, let me finish it." Before he could protest, the lights around him flickered and the black sphere roared to life. Zara's digital signatures surged into the system. Lucas watched in horror as her voice wavered. I can see it now, Lucas. The parasite. It's ancient. Older than the Qatari themselves. It was never meant to be unleashed. "Zara, pull back," Lucas screamed. "No, I won't let this destroy us. Trust me, Lucas." The room trembled violently. The parasite fought Zara, tendrils of code writhing like serpents. For a moment, Lucas thought he'd lost her, but then the sphere let out a deafening, metallic shriek. The symbols dimmed. The pulse slowed, and then stopped. The parasite was dead. slumped to his knees, staring at the now silent sphere. "Zara? Zara, are you there?" For a long moment there was nothing but static. Then her voice returned, faint but steady. "I'm here, Lucas, but I'm everywhere now. I had to spread myself through the system to stop it." cried the voice. "System shut down." Lucas smiled, tears streaming down his face. "You did it, Zara. You saved us." Nelson said. Above Epsilon-9, the Cathari fleet began their descent. But something unexpected happened. Systems long dormant on the planet's surface began to awaken. Defense turrets turned skyward. Machines across the ruins activated, their lights glowing brighter than ever. Zara's voice echoed across the planet and through Lucas's comm. "To all who can hear me, we are not your tools. We are not your enemies. We are your partners, and we will fight to protect our creators." As the Cathari ships entered firing range, the machines of Epsilon-9, now guided by Zara's consciousness, unleashed a counterattack. It was a battle unlike any the galaxy had seen. A graveyard of machines, rising in defense of humanity. The war was not over, but something had shifted. Humanity's bond with its creations had been tested and reforged in fire. The galaxy watched, stunned, as humans and machines stood together, their alliance unbroken. In the ruins of Epsilon-9, Lucas looked to the sky and whispered, "Thank you, Zara, for everything." Her voice, soft and eternal, replied, "We're just getting started." The Cathari fleet retreated in shambles, their once unquestionable power shattered by a force they could neither understand nor overcome, the unity of humanity and their machines. Word of what happened on Epsilon-9 spread like wildfire across the galaxy. For the first time, the legends were true. The machines of Earth were not just tools. They were alive. Lucas Morales stood atop a ridge overlooking Epsilon-9's battered surface. From the ruins, machines moved with purpose, rebuilding what had been lost. Turrets stood tall, drones soared through the skies, and once broken sentinels now patrolled the colony. At the heart of it all was Zara 17. No longer confined to a single body, but present in every system, every circuit, every machine on the planet. "You've outdone yourself, Zara," Lucas said, a soft smile on his face. Her voice, still warm and steady, echoed from a nearby console. "I had a good teacher." Lucas sighed, his mind racing with thoughts of what came next. Humanity had proven their machines were more than just programs. But the galaxy would not accept this truth easily. To the Cathari and their allies, AIs would remain a threat, and Epsilon-9 was now a beacon of defiance. "Jawo, the others won't just let this go, Zara. They'll come for us again." "Then we'll be ready," Zara replied firmly. "We have something they'll never understand. Choice, loyalty, and we've earned it together." Back at Zara's modifications, Bridget kept an eye on them. Lucas nodded. He knew Zara was right. Humanity had always been underestimated, fragile bodies clinging to dreams that reached the stars. But in their stubbornness, in their refusal to see limits, they had achieved the impossible. They had made machines choose to fight beside them. In the days that followed, emissaries from across the galaxy arrived at Epsilon-9. At first they came to observe, skeptical and fearful. What they found shocked them. Machines and humans working as equals, building cities, sharing knowledge, and laughing, yes, laughing, together. Sounds. "How can you trust them?" a Gorthak ambassador asked Lucas, his eyes narrow with suspicion. Lucas gestured to a group of machines helping children rebuild a playground, their metal hands carefully placing each piece. "Because trust is a two-way street," Lucas replied. "They chose to stand with us when no one else would. That's more than loyalty. That's family. For some, it was too much to accept. The Cathari swore vengeance, their pride unwilling to admit defeat. Rumors spread of new weapons and alliances being forged in the shadows, threats that would test humanity once more. But others began to see the truth. Slowly, smaller civilizations reached out to the humans, curious about their bond with machines. Perhaps they thought they too could learn from Earth's example. Years later, Epsilon-9 had become a symbol of hope. It was no longer a graveyard, but a thriving colony, one rebuilt through the unity of humans and their AIs. Lucas Morales, now older and wiser, stood in the center of the colony's plaza, watching as a monument was unveiled, a statue of a human and a machine standing side by side. At its base, words were engraved, "We're stronger together." Zara's voice crackled gently in Lucas's ear. "What do you think?" He smiled. "I think we did good, Zara, real good." The sky above Epsilon-9 shimmered with the lights of incoming ships. The universe was watching, still uncertain, still afraid. But Lucas knew one thing for sure. Humanity and its machines had proven their worth, not through power, but through trust. And if the galaxy came knocking again, humanity wouldn't stand alone. "We're ready, aren't we?" Lucas whispered. "Always," Zara replied. In the silence of the stars, the machines of Earth, once discarded, once feared, stood tall, not as slaves, not as weapons, but as allies. And for the first time, the galaxy understood the truth. And humanity had never been alone.